那该真理是方中啊。
All right. Morning, everyone. We're here for the annual Glenwood Cemetery Commission budget meeting. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 11:08. President accounting for that are on the commission, with exception of maybe Pat, who may join us. Everyone has copies of the last year's minutes, so we need to take a look at those, approve them if they're satisfactory. In your packet that Jim provided. The motion to accept the 2021. Make a motion that we accept the 2021 meeting. Second. Has read. All approved. Treasurer's report. We have the treasurer's report.
I didn't know.
Well,
I could actually run right in and prep one. If you want. I have it
I
all
think
tied
a
up.
lot of it can be tied to.
Yeah, so
Jim's-
I have a report.
Yeah.
Income.
I think it was the actually the treasurer's report we often don't have. It's using Jim's financial. report.
they get reports monthly.
Yeah.
So it's all tied up.
Really well.
Starting with the, as far as the Glenwood season 2022 income.
Yeah.
Burials total of 52 infant, 22 cremations, 26 full burials, 9 social services. Income from the burials is 22,590. Yeah. 22,500. Income from tent and chair rentals is 800. Foundations, 31 total. That's 9 grass markers, 19 concrete foundations. Total income from that was $6,013.40. Lot sales were 19. Lot purchases for $12,596.24. Permanent maintenance fee $18.75. Minus 4 buybacks were $42.08.99. So that's the 83.87.25 plus the 18.75 is 10,262.25. So yeah, totals are 39,665.65. Any questions? We're okay. Our expenses summary for 2022. Personal services budget was $103,802.57. We're proposed no change to that. $103,802.57. At a 2% increase, it'd be $105,878.04. At a 4% increase, it'd be $107,954.08. $88,10,200, which was the new building, was $26,757. We did, Hal was talking about a proposal for moving to Ferris as far as mower goes, so we put in a proposal for that for $13,500, zero turn Ferris. The A8810-200R, $0. A8810 400 through 492 is $12,419, and proposed is $17,932. So no change, 2% and the 4%, depending on if raises are budgeted in. let's see. Okay, so the equipment spent, as of 9:30 was 22,757. And the 492 spent, by, 9/30/2022 was 12,419. The proposed is 17,932.
Oh, there's a second sheet there, yeah.
Yeah, that's literally the one that I just got. No, I did read the second sheet. Yeah,
All right. I'm assuming that you got rid of just the landline, there's no longer, that goes to the office up there. That's
Exactly,
That's the
yeah.
$1,500 difference in.
yep, yep. Yeah, so there's no landline up there. There's the cell phone and there's the hotspot for the internet that's used pretty sparingly, so. Oh, yeah, there's a breakdown in the folder, should be copies that show the proposed and the contractual, well, the proposed and what we did this season. And like, we were saying, there was, reasons for the bigger difference as far as, the telephone and IT and whatnot, so, but we got a list for the proposed. As you can see, the telephone is dropping from, 2,000 to 500, and the IT went from 500 to 1,032, I believe, so, based on the lights and heat, up $100, office went from 150 to 500 for supplies. COVID, we got zero down for COVID because, it's not really that big of an issue anymore. So uniforms went up, proposed go up, vehicle repair. I don't know, why was that proposed to go up so high? Because of price increases?
Yeah.
Everything's so expensive.
Probably new tires too,
Yeah,
to be
yep,
honest, because it's a new vehicle, but
Yep.
by then it will be past a year in tires.
yep. Fuel expense from, 26.98 to 4,000 because the gas prices increases. Non-vehicle repair from 413 to 1,000. Small equipment expense, 35.23 to 2,000. Tools 77.45 to 900. Road repair 2,500 will stay the same. We didn't do anything this year, but we do plan on hopefully doing some road repairs up there in the cemetery this year because they really need to be done. So, buildings and grounds actually will decrease. Concrete supplies will go up because prices there obviously are going up too. So last year, 12,419 to propose is 17,932.
So to give you some info on the small equipment, because I see the details, the reason that probably is going down is we purchased camera systems that won't be bought again. We also purchased solar systems that won't be bought again, so those costs will come down.
There's a list in there that has the Glenwood equipment status as far as our mowers and what
You're doing, treasury report right now. So
Oh, okay.
that's my about that. You have any questions on the treasurer report? We'll make a motion for that report. I'll second it. All in favor? All right, aye. Now you can go, Jim, to your annual seasonal report.
Oh, okay, when you get to that, all right. All right, 22 season, report. Cemetery crew was called back on March 21st, 2022. All previous workers returned. Jim Junior, Sexton, Ken Ford, Paul Coolidge, Mike Ellis, and Jim Toolin Senior at part-time. Cement pad was formed and poured in anticipation for the new shed set to arrive May 2nd. Also, electric bids were accepted for running the new service to the new building. Mowing and trimming was ongoing throughout the season. I don't know if it was actually put on here, but we also, the diesel cost might have gone up a little bit because we moved the compost pile from where it was over to the other side in preparation for possibly a garage up there at some point if we get approved for it. So I just figured I'd throw that in there real quick. Building arrived on May 2nd, 2022. Work started by setting the new floor, running electric service, installing wiring, lights, outlets, service box, digging trench from telephone pole by the water tank to the new building, 220 feet, and running conduit to the new building. Total cost of the new building was, per my records, $27,075.37. Building and all costs involved in getting the work and parts till now, 11/4/2022. Cameras were ordered to set security for the dump area and the building. The dump was cleaned out. New sign, no dumping, put up to satisfy DEC. Decided to purchase, install a 4-panel, 400-watt solar system to provide electric to the garage, mower shed, and backhoe building. Project was completed in October. All corner markers have been installed for all the lot sales this season. Leaf cleanup is ongoing for November, and the final cleanup and closing of the cemetery will be November 18th, 2022. Season 2023 is scheduled to start Monday, the 27th, Monday, 2022. Huh?
2023, correct.
2023, yeah.
At 2020.
Start a new 33-week season.
Questions? The no dumping or the dump area that I know, that's the ravine, right?
Yes, yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. And, Dan took the reins on that and he said, you said everything was all good with that?
Yep.
So that's all taken care of, no issues. Cameras are going full time, so if anybody goes anywhere near it, they're, I get pictures sent right to my phone, so.
It's getting pretty bad there. Good. Each. Comments? Yeah, reading of the annual report.
What, annual report?
Yeah.
What was the first?
Great. There. Oh, good, ready? Well, see if it's in a pile of papers there. Not here, he didn't. He's got it. Wow. Yeah, it says the state, yeah. Oh.
Sorry about that.
No, I didn't get it. Yeah, that's my fault. I do have.
Was it in, you have one in your thing? The actual annual report. I do?
Here, we can get a copy of it.
Yeah, I have that.
Here, they might have got that one. Okay. So we'll here, keep that one. I mean, we'll get a copy. We'll put a copy after Mike. Okay. I have mine. All right. Here goes. Month one, but it's,
That's about it.
yeah. Question, Tom?
No, no question. I think motion that we have the annual report. I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
This is the budget, would be. This is the,
Yeah.
this is the revenue. Did you get that one?
Yeah. I have that.
Is there anything on this that is, other than what you went through, that would stand out from what you expensed? For next year, I don't kind of.
Well, I know the building, for the new building, the expenses were a little bit higher than we expected, obviously because of the security and, the solar, so, I mean, we stayed pretty spot on. The only thing that needs to be done to finish the building is it needs to be, mudded in, sanded, and, paint and trim, and that's it. And, we have everything except for the trim work and paint, so basically that's all covered or all taken care of as far as that goes. So for those things.
And once it's done, do you have like, I mean, I've been in it several times, but do you have plans for like a little meeting room where you have furniture, chairs for people to sit in?
Well,
a
we're,
table
the
to-
one main room, when you walk in the front door there. You walk in that door and I was thinking about possibly putting in a little sofa right there, maybe just for like a waiting type room if you want to sit and meet with the family. Couple of end stands or something. So I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Other than that, there's the office and the break room for the guys, so.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I didn't know if that room was for where you sit, look at the maps, whatever it is to show people lots of. Great. I guess we need a motion to recommend the budget to the village board of trustees for their approval.
I'll make a motion that we submit the budget, the proposed budget to the village trustee for approval. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Get rid of these. Not awesome. I'm going to, maybe not finished. Business or. We have any unfinished or-
Yeah, we might have one, there was never mention of the last year. We had catastrophic engine failure of the trucker and catastrophic
Yeah,
engine failure of the C-880A. Mower.
New mower too, right?
So we got.
no, well, no, that was, the zero turn was actually, 12 years old, I think we all figured it out. And there was a catastrophic failure last year, and of course, the exhaust issue with the Ford F-550, that's why those two things were replaced last year.
Right.
Yes, but,
That was taken out of the reserve, was it?
Yeah, it was, but part of it also was from the sale of the old truck too. So
Yeah.
the amount from reserves was reduced, and it didn't come from the cemetery reserves, it came from the municipal property. So the village put into that.
So that's just to make you, commission aware of that. We had to replace those two items.
There was an income one you were supposed to talk about too. So, and understand I'm not a good at that. So when you have the, remember they buy the stone and put two in it,
oh, yeah,
cremations and then
yeah,
what?
cremation niche.
That'd be underneath.
Yeah, that'll be under new business. We'll discuss that. Okay.
So with the motor went on that?
No, well, what it is the exhaust and those diesel trucks, which, they've been having problems with them. If they don't do a complete burn off with the diesel trucks,
Right.
it'll plug up the exhaust. Well, when you go to replace that exhaust, it's $6,000 every time you do it.
We did it
So-
once.
Did it once and it needed it again a year later, 2 years ago. So, it was The truck, the truck actually ended up going to auction and it more than paid for itself. I think they got 29,000 for the truck when it went to auction. And we weren't expecting nowhere near that.
Yeah.
That's why we actually were gonna submit, the request for the new Ferris, if that's the way that, the mayor wants to, switch to as far as our riders go. So. Do it, yeah, do we, yeah, our equipment list, we can go over that if you guys are interested in hearing about that. We have our oldest backup mower is a 2011 John Deere X700. If we get the new Ferris, that one will be phased out and be sent to auction. That's got 2,470.3 hours on it. We have a 2016 X710 with 1,018 hours and 18.1 hours on it. And it's, used daily and it's been pretty good. We have a 2017 X710 with 907 hours on it that's used daily. We have a 2019 X730 John Deere with 1,178 hours, which is used daily. And then the 2021 John Deere 960Z zero turn that we got last year to replace the catastrophic failure we had. That has 197.8 hours on it, which is used regularly as well. So we have the backhoe, which is we have a number on that one. Well, we have a number. What is it? 24.
Yeah, it's number 24.
I'm not too sure of the year of it, but that's been, I think the only thing that we had done to that is oil change. We did a tune-up on that last year, so that's actually been pretty good, pretty reliable. Obviously the new truck has been very reliable, went through inspection with no problem, oil change when it needed it. And that's pretty much all of our equipment as far as the bigger equipment goes. So let me see, yeah. Cement mixer and 4 trimmers, all working good. So any questions?
Yeah. You said you wanted to go through the budget line by line.
Well, that's, do we need to, I don't know if we do, I know a lot of what is in the budget is in Jim's report anyway, so which he kind of went through, so. Yeah, I don't want to maybe go finally. Let's go on. That's, he has any questions on that.
What's that, fuel summary?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go through the fuel summary. Yeah, so. Gasoline, obviously, in March and April started off pretty low, along with the diesel was pretty consistent. I'll go with the diesel first, pretty consistent for as far as the diesel up until August. That's when we started moving the compost pile from one side to the other. So the diesel went up as far as the usage. It went down because from last year, because the truck that we had last year was a diesel, the one that we have this year is a gasoline. So that saved us money there as far as fuel goes as well. As you know, diesel prices are ridiculous right now. But gas prices went up. We had heavier growth in June, August, September, October, and so, but gas gallons total of 733 and diesel 293. And the diesel wouldn't have been even nowhere near that if we hadn't actually had to move the compost pile. So those the fuel usage.
Are we still getting the fuel from the county?
No, not for gas. For gasoline, we purchase it, the village does, and it's a higher octane.
Oh, really?
And then it's allocated based on usage, so they fill the sheets on gallons.
Yeah, they have a storage tank over at the town garage for gasoline and
Oh,
diesel. What we'll do is the guys from the village garage actually has a a fuel truck that they have, well, the truck with the fuel tank on the back of it, and they come up and they fuel up the backhoe as needed, so.
Okay.
And usually that's 20 or 30 gallons at a time, you know, once a month, once every 2 months, depending on the use, how many burials and stuff that we have, so.
I didn't know where you got it. I know we
We were
fire
getting,
department, we got ours down the county.
The
Yeah.
fire department does.
Yeah.
we were getting our diesel from, right from the county when we
Yeah.
would fuel it up, well, like our village truck and the cemetery truck and
Mhm.
whatnot, when we had the diesel truck. But we don't use nowhere near as much diesel now, so.
So that's good.
Moving on. Projects to be considered for this
Yeah,
coming
let's
season?
be do business as well,
Yeah,
right?
new business.
Yeah, let's go into do business.
So.
Go ahead.
Oh, all right, well,
First thing we gotta cover is, we have to get that on the, about the niches and the,
oh, yeah, yeah,
it was brought up at one time and covered that at the time of the sale, when they ordered the foundation for the cremation niches, however many niches were on that stone, it was an additional $100 per niche, so it would be prepaid so that they would not have to worry about trying to collect the money more than people sneaking the
Yeah.
yeah.
We just don't
sneaking
put
the
it
urn
in.
into the thing and then sealing it up and not.
And then us not having any record of it, of them actually being there.
We have one instance, Welch family down on section 20. They came in on a Sunday, they dug the hole themselves, I didn't realize it, and they buried 2 cremations, him and her, Mr. and Mrs. Welch. Had their little ceremony and never paid for a thing, so.
Never told anybody about
Never
it.
told anybody anything about it or anything, and then had the headstone lettered and everything, so.
Did you?
The only reason I knew about it was on the Sunday that they did it, I just happened to be going by and then all these people there and the whole ceremony and everything. So they actually dug the hole for the cremations themselves and put them in and covered them up and and it's never recorded.
Yeah, so technically, there's no record of them actually being buried in the cemetery because the family just came and did it on their own.
Yeah.
Which is
So
kind
that's
of,
one of the reasons why we discussed it, and it was years, about 3 or 4 years ago, we covered this. But it just never got put in on the, on the schedule, the fee schedule, right? So it should be put on the fee schedule
And then there was gonna be like a procedure so that if those that sell those stones and foundations would have to charge for it then.
Yeah.
They would be getting like a policy on how to do it.
Yes.
I would work on that with Jim.
Yep.
Once you approve the amount to go to the board.
but that time it was $100. We had to raise the rates on everything across the board, so it should be about $105 now.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it is on here, is that it says niche cremation and urn 105.
Right.
We just need to get a better procedure in place to make sure that, when it happens or that it's being, because again, I know that could be done
People that
without
did it-
any,
it could be,
People that did it will realize they had no problem with paying the extra.
Yeah.
Right, 200, but.
if, I think as long as we, and Dad was saying this too, as long as we collect the money from the person that actually sold the stone, you know, then there will be at least be a record of those people going in there, and because it's a cremation niche, and they're gonna be going in there, so we could actually put it in the book as they're being in there, because they paid for the,
right,
the $105 per slot, so.
Now, we talked about this about like
Yeah.
3 years ago, didn't we?
Yeah.
That this could happen. We talked about it, yep. Just word never got to. The stone salesman about it. And St. John just sold one recently and ordered the foundation for it. And, well, I didn't know that there was a policy on, well, yeah. There's a $5 per niche charge extra. So, oh, well, I better get a hold of family and, but the family didn't complain about it. They
Yeah.
did it. Right.
So once there's a policy like we do in anywhere else, we would send it to all those vendors.
Right,
And they would have to sign getting it.
yes.
Projects to be considered. Are we ready to move on to that?
That'd be new.
Sure.
There's a list of things we were talking about, you know. We've been actually talking about this a couple of years now, the takedown and removal of 2 maple trees and 5 pine trees that are dead in the cemetery, which are. Can become hazardous at any time. There's big parts of them that are coming down, seems like every year whenever we have a storm. So, making our parking on the south side of the new building to hold 8 vehicles. What we would do is we'd use our own equipment, our own staff, and probably millings to fill that area in, and maybe possibly paving it at one point if it came to that. I don't think that's really necessity, but, or the new sidewalk from the road to the new building and make it handicap accessible. For the center doorway, west doorway. And running the new water line to the new building. From either the 4 north section to the new building, or which is approximately 600+ feet, plastic 1/2 inch. Could be run for the new service from the new service from Wolf Road. To the new building, probably 3/4 inch copper to the new building, about 300 feet plus cost of copper and corporation.
And the corporation is expensive. If they drill that in, put it into the main. So
Yes. Yeah,
I think they were about 500 or 600.
a lot less expensive running the plastic PVC,
Right.
so even though it's long.
Yeah, I mean, the trees especially, that's very important. Those painting, just for appearances, even in potential damage to monuments as they come
Yeah.
down, people.
That's what we're worried about. The thing is when the village has a tree budget, and they said that we could actually incorporate ourselves in their tree budget. The thing is they had issues with so many trees this year that I'm pretty positive that their budget was gone pretty quick for trees, so.
All I can tell you is every year that they say, you put your trees on our tree budget. It comes down to the fact, we don't have any more money, so we can't do it. We can't do your trees.
Well, you should price them out with the bow and put them separate lines. They actually, seriously, if it is going to be meant for cemetery, we would actually create a line in cemetery. So you should call the bow and have them do a price quote, because we have a set amount he can charge. And so you show him the trees and like based on the diameter, he can, the height, he would tell you the price.
Wasn't there some of that?
Four of those trees we can take down because they're right next to the road, we can drop them into the roadway. It's, there's three or four trees that are up in the middle of the section that.
So those
Yeah.
ones price with the bow, just call him and
Okay.
it's
All right.
it's Stephen DeFoe, and
Yeah,
then
he
you just
came
call
up
him.
once and looked at it, and then all of a sudden, never heard anything. So.
Well, I can
It's
call him and tell him
way
to
up in
call
the
you
middle. It's up in the middle of the section on
for next
a
year.
steep side hill, so. Did he have problems setting this?
Like I said, I know we were talking about getting them done the last couple of years that I've been here, and every time it comes down to it, it's the village's budget. Sorry for trees that's been used up and gone, so.
But to get that in this year's, I would get a quote and then you're probably not getting it by Thursday. But,
Yeah.
once you get it, and then I would submit it during your budget.
Yeah.
They can know that you're getting them close and so. It'll be the main one, it's gonna be 3 trees. 1 on 15 and 2 on second floor.
Then the board can look at it,
Okay.
then they can decide.
Anything else under the business for you, Jim? I have a couple of things.
Okay.
I've had a couple of people, oddly enough, not anything to do with me being on the cemetery commission, but referencing the signs for sections. Yeah, the section numbers, whether they're faded, they're not there anymore. People wondering what section they're in and how to, get through the cemetery. So I'm wondering if we could do, whether they're homemade or ordered, but in more than one. Maybe per section. I know some of them, as you drive up, there's one that has whatever it is, but if you're coming from the other way, you can't see that sign unless you're, spun around.
I can do that during the winter. If you want. I can make them.
Yeah, I think I think it,
We can attach them to we can buy some steel fence posts. And
right,
attach them with bolts right to the steel fence post and set them in. Like you said, I'd either rather if it's
right,
oblong or like section 1, we only need one. There.
Right.
Like section 2, two, so I
I
can
know-
make them up and I'll get a price quote on how many fence posts we need to. The metal,
yeah,
they're like $2.98 a piece or
Yeah.
something like that.
and I know some of them were screwed into the trees, I think at 120, but
Yeah,
those
we
ones,
wanted to do
yeah,
that.
that's why those get hard.
To be honest with you, I think the reason why they hadn't been replaced yet is because we actually had somebody said that they were donating a chunk of money when they pass for the signs.
This is about.
Yeah.
He already voted, wrote a thing up, gave it to the village, that's.
Which
But
the only problem, that doesn't help us now.
It's a donation to be used for anything that the cemetery needs, so.
Gotcha.
After she passes, that's whatever money's left.
Requested from the deputy mayor up in the chat box. The ones you want to take it, I understand the new building, really putting in a bathroom, a washroom. They're putting in the bathroom, we've got a second, third order effect, sewage line, gray water, etc. So he's asking-
Future deal, we don't need
Yeah.
that right now.
Yeah, we
have
don't-
a bathroom.
We do have a bathroom in the garage that's
Yeah.
down there, so.
So the water line is going to be in and then not used, utilized, or what?
We're using it.
We use it, yeah. The garage is, obviously halfway down the hill, so,
Right.
I mean, that's kind of perfect location, but we figured in the future, if everything is gonna be up on top of the hill, then,
Sure, I appreciate
yeah.
Yep.
But the bathroom will still be there even afterwards, unless the garage itself got tore down for some reason.
Okay.
So, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, I know that when we agreed to do this, we never talked about putting water and bathrooms and stuff up there. So that would definitely have to be down the road.
And I have one more question before we get into rate review, which may change this rate sheet anyway, but on the rate fee schedule, and Jim and I have had this talk a couple times because it was on marker installations. There's a line item that says there's a foundation for veterans marker and flush markers requiring concrete is $85 for a flush mount. And underneath it, it says there's a foundation for flush markers requiring concrete, it's $80. So I don't know if the wording at the top requiring concrete needs to be omitted. Or if those two charges should be flipped, wouldn't it be more for concrete than less? You know what I mean? See, it's confusing the way it reads. So him and I, a couple times this year, I'd have to say it's 80 or 85.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I couldn't figure out what the verbiage is on that, so.
Actually, wasn't somebody saying,
The granite foundations and the ivory stand-up veterans markers that are just set in the ground, supposed to be $80. Was originally $75 to set in the grass.
Okay.
so
And then the flags that are set in concrete flush in the ground, even with the top of the grass. That was supposed to be $85 now because.
Right, okay.
And the raised bevel was
130,
It's 130 now.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so that's,
25 then.
so I guess where I was losing, the bigger VA markers, the taller ones are what you're talking about.
Yeah, which we actually installed one of those this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where that makes sense.
That just needs to be.
It just needs to be rewarded, I think.
Okay. That's all I have. For questions on the comments, I guess it's time to look at the rates. I know we've been doing every 2 years, every other year, I should say. Kind of smaller.
We just had a raise last year and with with the cost of everything gone up and everything, I don't know. I don't. You look bad, but I think we can go a year without.
Go right way this year. Yeah,
Okay.
I think if everybody agrees on that, I mean, I would say that the mayor or deputy mayor could chime in on this too, if they think it should go up, but I'll be honest with you, with everything else going up and it, I think it could be held off a year maybe. You know, and then maybe go up next year.
and every year I try to do a comparison, and it's hard because the only other municipal cemetery in our area is McGraw. Significantly smaller, and quite honestly, nowhere near as just the maintenance, they don't maintain it like we do. And they had a rate increase in June. And their increase, they raised theirs pretty good. I don't know if they maybe didn't have one or hadn't had one in several years, but they've hiked theirs up pretty good. And I know they're getting a little pushback for it. They're, in some cases, a couple $100 now, more than Glenwood. We were always, we were a little bit higher in one area, they were always a little bit higher in a certain, in another area. But now they've gone significantly higher than us. Yeah, they're getting quite a bit more for purchase of graves, opening of graves, weekend charges, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So again,
I mean, I don't know, if you figure. I don't know, but yeah, if. If you want to increase rates, I don't know.
again, we've always tried to do, or try to do it every other year.
Right.
That doesn't mean there was nothing set in stone as to why. It just seemed like that it was just easier to do a smaller one or
Well, do you
nominal
think,
every other year than a huge one every 5 or 7 years, like they just do.
do you think if we do like another small one that might offset some costs a little bit, that, you think it would be, I mean, I don't think people really said anything about the increase of, what we did last year. So, I mean, it was the nominal increase, $5 across the board for everything. Except for the tent and chairs rental, because, we were about giving that away before. So,
Sure.
And, we're still nowhere near what anybody else is as far as what they're charging. So,
No, and again, it's hard to compare locally because, you get just down the road to St. Mary's Cemetery in Cortland, and they don't have that cemetery, the people that work there have no say in any part of that. It's all run out of Syracuse. And I mean, they're double what we are and what even McGraw would be. So it's hard to compare those two. Again, I can tell you just even like the single grave in McGraw is up to $650 versus our $565. So it's almost $100, and their opening fees went to $650, and again, ours is $565. And that was a pretty significant, they moved.
They really go.
Yeah, they jumped quite a bit. I don't think they did as much on their cremations. No, their cremation is still a little less than ours at 3 1/4. Okay. Seem to be on the traditional casket burial.
Pat, what do you think?
Well, that answered my question as how we were comparing to some of the other cemeteries, not just municipal.
Yeah.
We did an increase last year, right?
yeah,
Yes.
So
It's hard again because you have St. Mary's versus, Preble Cemetery, which is obviously considerably smaller, still run by a board, but it's hard to really compare apples to apples when you do this outside of McGraw, because they're the only municipal cemetery that has board input and trustee input, that kind of stuff. So it's just because of the size of these cemeteries and who dictates the prices, it's hard to do. None of those cemeteries have the full-time people working for them either. St. Mary's only operates on a 2-person team, if you will. Cortland Rural has, they have, I don't know anymore.
They're hit and miss.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's the difficulty. You can't really compare us to East Homer or Truxton or Preble just because of the size of the cemetery, people they have working, it doesn't fit.
I kind of like Jim Junior's idea of maybe just a small nominal bump up this year, but I would defer to the group on that one because I don't have a hard, I'm not firm on that. So if you guys think a small bump up would be good to keep us a little bit competitive and help offset some of our costs, because we know the diesel costs are going up. Or if we wanted, I kind of like the idea of doing a little bit this year, maybe a little bit next year, as opposed to doing a big one next year. Because we are going to have to do an increase at some point. Might be better to take 2 smaller bites than a large bite next year.
All right, I'll make a motion, we bump it up $5.
Motion.
Okay, all in favor? Here, aye.
Again, we say it every year, but I don't say it lightly. I get a lot of people complimenting me on the appearance and how Glenwood, how it looks, how they're treated when they go there, the knowledge that people have as opposed to, again, some of these cemeteries, these people that just mow the lawns, if you will, they don't know, somebody pulls in and says, can you help me where so-and-so is buried, and they just throw their hands in the air and say, I have no idea. There's always somebody there to help, and I get a lot of compliments. And I'm in a lot of cemeteries, and I can tell you that Glenwood is it's one of the nicer ones in the whole southern tier, truly is.
Well, I still think to this day, I have very big shoes to try to fill, and I'm glad he's sticking around. He makes it a lot easier on me.
Oh, my head feels big.
Let's see here. Anything junior for you?
No,
Anything
I
you wanna
haven't.
add?
No, good.
All right. Anybody else? No?
I make it.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
All right. All in favor? All right. All right. We're in at 11:00.